Hey guys, I'm back again. Got a long drive ahead of me. Got nothing better to do. So I'm just going to talk for a minute. Kind of some of my thoughts on current events and things that are going on. I don't know, everybody's got different opinions, different feelings, different thoughts, and these are just some of mine. What's going on? And I mean, what in the world are we doing? If I live the next month, to the middle of next month, I'll be 46 years old, and that'll be a blessing. I've never seen anything like this. I also want to talk a little bit about somebody that I've met on Facebook that just, for the life of me, I can't understand what the hell this person's thinking. The way that this individual thinks. And she's 82 years old, I believe. And it's just like nothing I've ever seen. Which has to do, and this is just, I'm just ranting a little bit about this individual, and she's one of many that are supporting this chaos. From the best I can understand her, these protests, peaceful protesting is one thing. Rioting and looting is another. And now, we want to remove every statue. Well, I don't, but, a certain group does. They want to remove every statue that they may find offensive in one way or another. I don't understand it, but they do. I mean, they're even trying to remove statues of people that served in the Union Army. I even heard one of the other day of Ulysses S. Grant. I mean, it doesn't make sense. He led, General Grant led the Union Army to victory in the Civil War. Somebody explain that to me. Why would you want to take his statue down? And I'm a Southerner, and I'm damn proud of it. And I can begin to entertain the thought of why you would want to remove certain Confederate statues. I don't like it. I'm not for it. I'll speak out against it, but I could, at least somewhat understand why you might want to do that. But I don't understand why you would want to remove a statue of Ulysses S. Grant, General Grant. I don't get that. And then, people that were abolitionists. I mean, people that fought against slavery. I mean, people that fought for the rights of all people. For all of us to be equal. It just makes me even, I've wondered since this whole COVID thing has started and since all these so-called peaceful protests, they're not. They're anything but peaceful. But since all this has started with the rioting and looting and the vandalism and theft and people being beaten up, assaulted, and in a couple of cases people being murdered by these mobs, this isn't about Black Lives Matter. This isn't about it's not about that. It's not about freedom for all people. It's not. We could sit here, I could sit here all day and talk about how it may be unfair for, when you look at history, black people did get they didn't get a fair shake. That's true. They did not. I think you need to be looking at more of the reasons why that is and why it continues to stay that way for that group of people, rather than tearing down historical statues that represent something that's been over with well over 150 years. You need to be asking, just need to be different questions. I mean, when you look at it like, okay, why does the black community struggle? Ask those questions. And the answer isn't because of old, rich, white men. Because the Civil War's been over. It's been over 150 years now. You can't use that. To my knowledge, I mean, every culture on earth has had slaves. And there's one group that still does it. But you're not hearing anything about that, but you sure are hearing about something that's been over with for years. It's over. It's done. It's over and done. And if you're going to get answers and get ready to move forward, you need to find out why they're having problems even still today. That's what you need to do. You know, maybe it's the absence of fathers in homes. And you have this in the white, you know, with the white race as well. It's not just blacks. You have it in whites, you have it in Hispanics, you have it in Asians. It's common in all races. But why does it seem to be that way more in one culture versus others? Why is that? That's what I would be asking. And how do you fix that? And that is not a racial problem. That is not a racial problem. It's not a racial issue. That's a cultural issue. And it does need to be addressed. But, you know, when you've got, no matter how you want to take your politics, whether you want to go to the left or the right or in the middle or however you do, it isn't right to ban or to try to ban certain people from certain things, gatherings, events, whether it's, for a while it was church or social events, eating out in a restaurant, but then you let other groups go out and protest, which led to rioting and looting. And I can tell you, it's only going to end one way. I mean, we've been hearing the talks of civil unrest and civil war, and I've never heard it spoke of like I've heard it this year. And I think simply on that issue, the problem is there's too many different kinds of people in one place at one time, and it's just not working. When you bring people in here from another nation and you want them to assimilate, how do you expect them to do that? How do you expect them to melt in and fit in when they came from a third world torn country? I mean, you can't. They can't. They're not at the level of even the lower middle class, let alone middle class or above in this country or any developed country. They can't. You got people living in tent cities around the cities in this country. You got people, what's this Chaz or Chop in Seattle? You've got a Democrat mayor that won't do her job. I don't know, from what I can tell, she supports what they're doing. What they call it, the summer of love. It's anything but that. It's the summer of feces and drug use and anarchy and crime and mayhem. It's anything but the summer of love. Places like Portland, Oregon. I mean, this isn't, and here's the thing. There's other people that live inside the city limits of Seattle that don't support this shit. They're not okay with this stuff. And they matter too. Not just Raz Simone and his little group of Chaz followers in the 6-block area that they live in, or that they've occupied. And I don't think it's going to last much longer. I'm like a lot of people. I wondered why the president hasn't done anything, but I kind of see why he hasn't. He doesn't want to use military force. These governors, these liberal governors and liberal mayors aren't doing their jobs as elected by their people. They're not taking care of them. They're not taking care of their states. They're not taking care of their cities. Look at Minneapolis. I mean, that guy looks like the mayor. That guy. Yeah, he's that guy. He looks like he's about 12 years old. And now he's asking for the federal government to come in and bail Minneapolis out. I say they shouldn't do it, but the downside to that is all the good people there that did not take part in the riots and the looting and the vandalism and the beating of innocent people. They were affected too. So see, it's not just the ones. It isn't. It's not just the ones that went out and did all the crime that would be paying for that. There's people that had nothing to do with it, and they're right in the middle of it. And that's not fair to them. And that's the bottom line. I mean, it's not fair to them. So what do you do? I don't know. All I can say is I'm glad that I don't live there. I'm glad that I don't live there. But I feel sorry for the ones that do. And I've said it for years, and I'll continue to say it. It's going to start in the cities, and it's going to end, I guess, everywhere else. But in small towns like where I live, people will fight back. And they haven't went up against that yet. And by that I mean these BLM groups and there's just so many groups. I mean, now you've got what they call them, the Boogaloo Boys. You've got all kind of groups on both sides of this stuff that are eventually going to clash if something doesn't change. And it's not going to be pretty. I can tell you from being a veteran, I've heard many of the guys I've served in the Marine Corps with, and now serving in the National Guard, and I've heard LEOs, I've heard people within the law enforcement, I've got communities, I've got plenty of friends that are deputies, police officers, a few state troopers that they said, they're not going to participate in certain things. In other words, they're not going to participate in going in a massive gun confiscation. So who's going to do it? If the guard members walk away, and believe me, a lot of them will. It's not just talk. And law enforcement doesn't do it, who are you going to get to do it? And you're literally going to have two sides, possibly. I don't know how it'll look. Hope it never happens. But I can tell you, the ones that are occupying Chaz, Raz Simone, and his bunch won't stand a chance. They will not stand a chance. It won't. But the thing is, it's not going to be like a battlefield. I don't think. I don't know. I don't know how it would look. It's going to happen in little pockets. And you're already seeing people in different parts of the country come out to defend their neighborhoods. And the places that they live in and around these cities from these violent rioters. And these, basically what they are is these people are fascists. They're social Marxist socialist types is what they are, and that's what this is about. It isn't about black lives, it isn't about white lives, it isn't about brown lives or yellow lives or red lives. It is about taking over. That's what it's about. It's simply about taking over. It is about the breakdown of the system that we have, and it's not perfect, but it's a far sight better than what they've got in mind, and I can guarantee you that. It is about dismantling that and rebuilding something else. How that would be, how that'll be, I don't know. I don't think they'll be successful, and I pray to God they're not. Because I for one will not just stand by and watch it burn. But on another note, this country has gotten so far away from the Creator God, and so far away from, just out of touch with reality. Just so out of touch with reality. It is, and it's sad. It's sad to see it. And I don't know. The best weapon we have is prayer. I mean, don't forget that. The best weapon we have is to pray to God Almighty, our Creator, and pray and hope that this turns around soon, because I've got a small child, and I don't want my 5.5-year-old child growing up in this kind of world. I don't know any parent with half a brain that would want their child growing up in this kind of world. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I don't know what they think that they're going to accomplish. I mean, and there's just so many different topics, and you can just go on and on with this. Just like this CHOP thing in Seattle, started by this Raz Simone, who claims to be a good guy. Now you've got other people coming in wanting to, I don't know if they're wanting to oust him and put someone, what's the structure to this? Excuse me, how is this, who's going to be in control of what? If they're allowed, and I don't think they will be, but if they're allowed to keep this 6-block area in the city of Seattle, it's not theirs. They have tents, their feces is on the ground, they have looted, they have rioted, they have beaten people, they have just laid waste to the 6-block area that they've occupied. And thank God I'm not from Seattle, but I sure wouldn't want to move there. Not now. I'm not going to. But why would anyone want to? When you've got business owners in that 6-block area of what they're calling the CHOP that are filing lawsuits. And these people are just, and this is what I don't understand, they're filing lawsuits because of the damages and the lost business, but they're not willing to stand up to the ones that are causing all of it. It just, and they're saying we support the protest, but yet bail us out. I don't know. It's just a crazy, crazy time. I'll be glad when this year's over. I will. Between the COVID-19 and all the stuff with the riots and the looting and the taking down of national monuments and the vandalism and people being beaten and in some cases even losing their lives, I'll be glad when this year's over. And I don't know that I've ever said that. So that's just, I don't know. I could go on and on. As a veteran and love this nation as much as I do, I'm just mortified at what I see. And I don't know where it goes from here. I just hope it's over soon. And at this point, yes, I do hope Trump wins. I do. Because you got to be kidding yourself if you think Joe Biden's actually going to be the president. You would have to be kidding yourself. And then the other day, was it today? Actually, a little while ago. He doesn't know what he's saying. He doesn't even know what state he's in when he's speaking. And he said, what, 120 million COVID deaths? It's 120 million. That's like half the country or something. Pretty damn close. And he's not, even if he were to win, and he could, and if he were to win, he's not going to be running it. But, I'm not giving up my rights. I'm not, that the founding fathers fought and bled and died for, fighting from the English. I'm not giving up my rights. And I am a proud Southerner, and I'm not gonna go backwards on that. And I just hope, I hope it doesn't come to it, but if it does, I hope that more people will stand their ground. And sadly, we may have to fight, and that's not what we want. But if it happens, it happens. Anyway, that's just some of my thoughts as I ride along, and I will try to keep up with the times and current events and the happenings and what's going on, and say a little something about it. If I'd like to get something more going. I just started a YouTube channel. I wished I didn't have this stuff to talk about, but it is something to talk about because it affects us. It affects everyone, and I will be glad to sit here and talk about it when I'm riding down the road. So we will do it again.